Okay. Hi, friends. This is your moderator, Yetmir, from the city of Albania, from the city of Shkodra in Albania. Today, I'm happy to introduce Kalin from the exciting city of Sofia in Bulgaria. Bulgaria reserved a soft spot in my heart for many, many reasons. I like to recall here one trip to Punor Mountain near Sofia we had with my best friend Granit. With the help of Wild Echo Tours, we were able to capture with our cameras the golden eagle, which was truly a dream of ours to photograph. I like to find this moment to thank them for their warm and professional services, especially Georgie, who been such a great host. On those 2 very cold days, high up in the mountain, we had uh, on December 2019. I encourage you folks to visit wildechotours.com or simply visit their Facebook page at Wild Echo for more info in regards to using their services. Great guys indeed. Moving forward, as noted before, to see the previous interviews, please visit our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified for weekly interviews and other related videos. Once again, I quickly like to stop and thank our previous wildlife photographers who took part on our interviews. William from UK, Kel from Denmark, Sergio from Italy, Lorenzo from Switzerland, and Gresa last week from Kosovo. I also like to thank Ben from Israel for his constructive feedback with his comments on our photos. Ben, your photography stands apart. Many thanks for your support. Please continue to do so. Additionally, as an individual and as a group, in reference to a recent post regarding live baiting, and as a friendly note to Phil from UK and everyone, I need to mention here that we do not promote in any way non-ethical forms of wildlife photography. Trying to maintain our growing group may be hard at times, but with full heart, I can say that since we created this platform in June, for me, it has been a great, fulfilling experience. Uh, Sharing, of course, and exchanging knowledge with all of you. We are a group of passionate photographers who in fact promote wildlife conservation awareness through our artistic vision. Coming back to today's interview, our talk will focus mainly on the right camera settings for photographing wildlife, the composition, right lighting, and post-processing techniques. But to begin with, let's ask Kalin, how did you get started with wildlife photography?
Well, hi everyone. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure, and I enjoy all the stuff at the group, and really appreciate what everyone is doing there. How did I start? It was natural. I grew up in the mountains, and I used to go in the forest whenever I could. So when I got older, and then I started working, I needed an excuse to be able to go there, and photography just came naturally, and I took a camera with me and started shooting, and then it became a passion, and it's now more photography than walking around, maybe more standing in a height and waiting for something to happen than just walking around and going through the forest.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. We want to dive into the camera settings. We had a lot of questions. Many friends wanted to dive in a bit deeper with respect to the combo, the right camera setting for the right situation. So I'd like to ask you to share your experience with respect to your camera setting. What do you suggest? And dive as deeper as you would like to.
Well, there are no magical settings. I cannot say just use this shutter speed or this aperture or this ISO. It depends on the situation and on what everyone wants to do and how they want to present the situation and the subject and the animal, and what kind of feeling would they like to provoke to the viewer. So it really depends. If you need to freeze the subject, if you need to have focus so everywhere, you will probably need to use a higher shutter speed or to use a smaller aperture in order to have larger depth of field. So it really depends. I can show you different pictures of mine and explain what I wanted to do and what kind of settings I dialed to my camera.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I can share my screen and show you some selected stuff. So this one, this small blue tit, it was right across the street where my grandparents live. There was a small hole in a tree, and it was using it as a nest. So what I wanted to do is to try to capture it when it's going into the nest, and I wanted to make it as sharp as possible and with as much focus as possible. I even wanted to freeze the wings, which I couldn't do, but first of all, I had to decide on what shutter speed. Here it's like 1/5000th of a second, but the light was not very good, so I had to compensate with aperture, and I had to compensate with ISO. The smaller aperture here, the larger, I mean, f4. This is a very shallow depth of field. This is actually the widest I could open my aperture with a 300mm lens and a teleconverter. So I had to predict where the bird will be in order to be in focus in the depth of field of the lens, and I had to have enough shutter speed. So what I had to compensate with that was the higher ISO. Here it is 4500. So it's a bit high. The picture had a lot of noise, but with some noise reduction, it was acceptable. So for this situation, the most important thing for me was higher speed, the highest possible speed with what conditions I had. So I had to figure out how to use the small amount of light and how to make the best picture possible. This is a bit of zoom. Even now, the tit is not that sharp that I wanted to, but this is the sharpest result I got.
Very nice. It looks beautiful. It looks amazing. And based on our last conversation, you were mentioning the fact that you shoot in RAW. I'm sorry, in manual.
Yes, I shoot manual mode. I only use auto ISO, and I have set limit to 5000. So I dial the aperture, I dial the speed, and I let the camera choose the ISO in order to make. Sometimes the picture get dark because there is not enough ISO allowed, but it's in conditions that are dark anyways, so it's just not suitable for shooting anymore.
Awesome. Awesome. Another question we have for you is, can you talk about the importance of the composition in this genre? Usually, how do you treat the composition? How is it important?
Well, composition is very important. It's it makes the feeling of a picture, because you cannot just have a subject in the middle and a lot of stuff around it, and composition is what actually makes the picture. Sometimes even the technical details and the technical stuff could be not that good. You could have not that sharp image or a lot of noise, but a composition can compensate for everything, and the moment, and it's very important. Unfortunately, with wildlife, you cannot predict you cannot make the composition. You have to predict it. because it's wild animals and they behave in their own way. So you have to know or to predict how things will happen. For this teeth, I had to pre-focus. The actual nest is somewhere over here. So I had to pre-focus on the nest and wait for the teeth to come and go and just try to capture it by coming and going. For this bee eater, it's by a bee eater nesting colony, and they use perches around to just rest and to relax and look around. So you go there and observe and start trying to figure out where they like to land. So this is a bush I found out that they like very well, and I just try to visualize where the bird will go and what the background will be, and at what time I should go there to take the picture. This here is a mountain, very not very far from the place, but there was a rock slide over here, and the rocks were really pink, and it just made this pink feeling and in the background. The picture is taken very early, I think about 5:30 in the morning, just before sunrise. So I didn't have enough light, but the bird was steady, so I could use lower shutter speed. Here it's 1/25th of 250th of a second.
Mm-hmm.
The aperture is open at 5.6, and the ISO is relatively low. It's about 800. Still, the composition is not that good, but with some cropping, we can make it better. Let's say if I just crop it somewhere over here and just put some accent on the bird like this, and it gets a bit better without cutting a lot of the picture. So composition is important. I think it's the most important thing of the picture.
Wonderful. And this leads us very neatly to the next question regarding the lighting, the importance of lighting. I see that you shot this, for example, very early in the morning. So why is early important? Why is it early light important?
It's the best light. You probably all know about this golden light. In our latitude, it takes quite some time, maybe half an hour or something, when you have in the morning and in the afternoon, in the evening, that you have the best possible light. First of all, it makes colors look very nice. Second, you can see all the details in the highlights and in the shadows. Here the shadows are a bit underexposed, but you can fix that in post-processing. But this not sharp light makes it really nice for the picture. To just you have all the available colors visible, and you don't lose any information, and it has this nice soft look. Like in this one, for example, it's later, probably like 8 o'clock in the morning, and you can see that colors start to get brighter. To rush, you have a lot of contrast, and here you start losing detail in the whites and in the blacks as well. So if the light is not good, you just have to stop shooting, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It gets very harsh. It gets very, a lot of contrast there, I see. And but it's very nice work. By the way, how long have you been shooting?
Oh, not that long. I got my first camera 20 years ago, but when I look at pictures from that time, I can hardly call it shooting. I was just pressing a button and see what happens.
Yeah.
But probably 7 to 10 years. I think it's when I started really going out and shooting and thinking of creating the image, not just taking a picture, but creating, predicting, and looking at animal behavior and everything.
Do you do this for hobby, or this is a kind of like professional for you as well?
Unfortunately, it's a hobby. Because I have to put more time into working than into going out shooting. But if I don't have my job, I won't be able to go shooting. So it's
Absolutely.
maybe they compensate each other.
Very nice work. And I have to ask you also, what is the gear that you use mainly?
I use Nikon D4S now. It's relatively old, but it's still very good. It's a full frame camera. I use 300 millimeters f 2.8 lens, and I use all the teleconverters, 1.4, 1.7, and the 2.
Right.
And it works well with all of them. It needed a bit of calibration with the largest one, but it's okay.
Awesome. And actually tomorrow we're going to shoot with some friends, and I'm asking one of the friends before I purchase the 1.4 to actually borrow it to see what the result is. Some folks say that you lose quality at times. Where do you stand with that?
Well, I'm not that much into reviews and a lot of technical stuff. I will shoot and I will see if the results are satisfying for me. I can hardly see a difference between 1.4 and just the 300 lens. You will not lose that much of a detail. This is without the teleconverter.
Okay.
This is at 300 millimeters and 2.8. The bird was really close to me, so I could use wide open aperture to take a nice picture. I think this one, yes, this is with the 1.4 teleconverter, and you cannot see any greater difference than this is 200 magnification.
Right.
So you cannot see a difference, and if you print it, it won't make any difference, I think.
We also would like to get to talk about your post-processing, your workflow, essentially from the point you shoot the picture all the way to be posted. What happens? What is your style? Anything you can share would I would appreciate it.
Well, as I told you, I shoot in manual mode and I try to do everything in camera. Unfortunately, I'm not that good. The camera is not that good either. So you always need post-processing. It's not like when I hear someone who says, I don't process my photos, it's not serious to me. It's not, you always have to process them because the camera is not as good as our eyes. So I can see a subject, I can see the scene, and then when I take it with the camera, it's completely different. So what I usually do when I go back home, I download my pictures, I choose some, I delete most of them because a lot of them are not good. But when I choose a picture, the first thing I do is usually decide if I need it to crop or I can use the full frame. If I need to crop, I will crop it. Let's say this screen sharing is a bit, yeah, let's say we crop it like this. And then I will look for artifacts like these dust spots here. Unfortunately, when we are out in the field and we have to change lenses or teleconverters, a lot of dust spots appear on the picture. The sensor gets dirty and we have these dust spots. So then I will remove them. Let me see where this thing was. Yeah, it was over here. So I use Capture One. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this software.
I'm personally not, but I'm so glad to see you, and it's something perhaps to delve into, learn more later.
It's a software it's a post-processing software. It's as good as Lightroom or any other stuff. It has the same options. It's just easy for me to work with it. So I will remove the spots from where I see some, and then after, just let me go like this. I think there was somewhere here. And then I will look at the histogram and see if the picture needs some exposure compensation or boosting or something. So I will adjust exposure depending on what I want to have. I will look at the areas where this is exposure warning. It shows me if there's underexposed or overexposed spots on the picture. Here I don't have any, but I think I can boost a bit the shadows here, because I'm not seeing details. This is my laptop screen, so it might be all right, but I will need some details in the shadows. I have option here to lift the shadows a bit, and then probably a bit of brightness, and see what happens. I can do it for the whole picture. Sometimes it messes up the background. I probably would like to have a darker background. So in this case, I will make a new layer here, and I will boost the brightness just for let's say for the bird. Oh, come on. This sharing stuff is going above my my tools. So I will see if I can, yeah, I can choose the brush here. So I will go at this darker place and just brighten it a bit. And then I will have this adjustment. It's not looking good, but just to visualize what I need. So this is most of the time, most of the stuff I use. If I have a picture which is not as good technically as this one, like probably, let's say this one over here, it looks flat. Its horizon is a bit off to the horizon. So I will make adjustment to the horizon. I will crop it, of course, just to be more to focus on the birds. I will crop it, and then I will, let's say, I will try to make it a bit more colorful, let's say, because it looks flat to me. I don't see a lot of color there, and I will probably need some more, not brightness, but contrast on the birds. And then I have different options. I can reduce a bit the highlights or lift up the shadows. And then I have this clarity option, which actually boosts the midtones a bit just to get some more details of the bird, and structure for a bit of sharpness. So that's what I will do. And when I have before and after, you can see the difference.
Right.
Between the two. So that's what I'm looking at. Sometimes I have pictures like this. This is a Tony Owl taken in the forest where it was very, very dark. You can see the ISO is 5000. I wanted a smaller aperture in order to have more focus on the bird, because it was getting out of my depth of field. It is taken with the 300mm lens and a 2x converter. So I have a really dark picture. So first I will try to leave the exposure. You can see in the histogram here, it's more on the left side. I will need to make it more to the center. So I will lift the exposure like this. And then I will start having these very, very bright areas where I will try to reduce with the highlights. And then going over probably the bird, I will lift the bird a bit, make it a bit brighter. I can do it again with a layer, just the bird. I can, let's say, boost the exposure of the bird, maybe a bit of brightness, and then the saturation a bit. And then I will just paint it over the bird like this, and it will start getting brighter. And I have these different options. Even if I overdo it, I can reduce the opacity of the layer just to the level I need it to look better. Regarding the settings that you asked me before, I chose those two pictures because they're taken very, very. Actually, this one is taken after this one. And this one is with wide open aperture. This is the maximum I could open it at 6.3. It's good. It's a good one, but I don't have enough focus enough focus on the owl. So I decided that I will need a lot of a wider depth of field, and I could do it only with a higher number of the aperture here, with a lower amount of light. So I chose this, but I had to reduce the speed, or if actually the speed is the same, everything is the same, just the aperture is narrower. So you can see the difference between those two. If I reset it, it's dark, and this one is light. I can do it like this, and you can see the difference between the apertures. It's the same picture, just with different aperture. I have here less light, and what also aperture does is I have more details in the background, so I have a harsher background, let's say. So it really depends on what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve it.
Awesome. I'd like to ask you also RAW versus JPEG, like with respect to shooting, and why would you do one over the other?
I won't do the other. I will do just RAW.
Just the RAW, right? Okay.
Yeah. You have a lot more of information in the file. Actually, RAW is everything that the camera gets. It has no compression, so you can use it as much as you want to. Let's say for this one, if it's in JPEG, I won't be able to lift the exposure enough to have a brighter image. I will not have information for the darker parts. I will not have information for the overexposed parts. You can, if you shoot in RAW, you can actually save a lot of a not that good picture. Mm-hmm. In the RAW file, you can see details you were not able to see in the viewfinder or in the JPEG compression.
Mm-hmm. And finally, when you save them, I understand that now with being able to shoot so many pictures, saving part, do you save them online? Do you save them on external hard drives? How do you keep all of the pictures? How do you organize them?
I have external hard drive where I save all my pictures, and I have my hard drive on my desktop computer. So I use both, one copy on the desktop and another on my external hard drive. I delete most of the pictures, which is not a good idea, because sometimes I go back to pictures that I thought they were not that good, and I like them in a different way, and I appreciate them in a way that I couldn't appreciate them before. So I delete pictures that are garbage when you see it, no focus, or too dark, or something else, or a photobomb. I have another bird in front of this one, or a picture that is obviously not good. But composition-wise, even if I don't like it, if everything else is okay, I just keep it. And sometimes when I go back to the picture, I can see something that I was not able to see before.
Awesome. In conclusion to this interview, I'd like to thank you so much for doing this. To tell the truth, I'm very impressed with the Bulgarian wildlife photographers. Very impressive.
Thank you very much. We are good friends here, and you're always welcome to visit, and we will show you all our places and our stuff.
Likewise. Thank you so much for doing this. We'll stay in touch. We'll look forward to see all of your pictures being posted, and definitely in the future to come and visit. Thank you so much, Kalin.
And I'll keep in touch. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.